When was the first time they asked you to cross-dress? Do you have any reservations?
Not at all.
No.
Listen, man, I know that one of the big things that in the black community, the stigma is about black men in dresses. And I always say, I never felt that stigma. That to me has always just been a staple in comedy.
Right.
And you mean to tell me for all these black people and particularly black men that have this hard stance on brothers in dresses, so you didn't laugh at Shanae with Martin, you didn't laugh at him as Mama Payne, you didn't laugh at Jamie Foxx as Wanda, you didn't laugh at the Wayans brothers as the white chicks, and then they'll often point to the great Dave Chappelle.
Right.
Man, Dave never did it. He never sold his soul. Well, hold up, he did do it. Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Richard Pryor did it as a maid in a toy, dressed as a maid.
Right.
Flip Wilson as Geraldine. Tyler Perry, who's built a fucking a conglomerate, who's a fucking empire.
Right.
So again, I never looked at that as somehow they're demeaning the black man or making the black man look less than a man for that. And plus, I always say perspective, man. Let's keep it all in perspective. We've had enough positive images of black men on screen, whether it's anything that Denzel has ever done, Wesley Snipes, Sam Jackson, Don Cheadle, Forrest Whitaker, Lawrence Fishburne. We've had a nice amount of positive black images as men, so that if it was one way, that'd be one thing. But it's been balanced out.
Right. And I mean, how come white dudes, it's considered acceptable for them to be lighthearted and silly on camera as a comedian, and that somehow as a black guy, you're not allowed to do the same thing? That to me is sort of offensive, that like as a black dude, you have to be serious and tough 24 hours a day.
You got to understand the stereo.
Because that comes from the same impetus that is like, oh, black people shouldn't go to therapy or shouldn't talk about their feelings, etc. Don't you think?
They absolutely
like,
should go to therapy.
Of course you should be able to do the funny stuff.
But our therapy has always been Big Mama, Grandmama.
Right.
You know what I mean? We have therapy over, ham hocks and fried chicken and pork chops and a bunch of shit that'll put us in the hospital. but to answer your question, historically, the black man has never been celebrated and lifted up to the certain level of superiority that white men have.
Right.
So we have to protect our image a little tougher.
Right.
We have to protect, for the sake of our sons, to know that these are the positive images that exist that debunk all the stereotypes that have been made about black men and all the negative connotations about black men. So we have to protect ours a little bit. We're a little bit more guarded as far as that goes, because historically this country has always made us look like a piece of shit.
Right. So
we're all criminals and drug addicts and drug dealers, and we're dangerous and we're violent.
And the idea that a black person shouldn't be able to wear a dress for the purpose of humor kind of comes from all that. That like a black person's identity should be so simplified that they shouldn't be able to step into other roles like that. It's really kind of silly.
I think everything is about perspective and context. And if we're talking about comedy within the context of comedy, what is the joke? What are we doing here? You telling me that Eddie Murphy wasn't funny as Grandmama Clump and Mama Clump and the Clumps? You telling me that Martin ain't funny as Big Mama in any of the Big Mama movies? You telling me that Eddie Murphy wasn't funny as Rasputin and Norbit?
Right.
And these are comedic giants, comedic icons, legends.
Right.
You'd be crazy to say that I have a certain level of now lack of respect for Jamie Foxx because he did Wanda in a dress.
Right.
When you look at his performance in Ray, I have a lack of respect for Eddie Murphy for him putting on a dress, but you look at his performances in a lot of the movies that he's done and in Dreamgirls. So, let's balance this shit out, man.
Right.
It's perspective.
100%. But okay, wearing a dress for the purpose of humor, we're both on the same page. That should be acceptable. How do you feel when you see somebody like Kid Cudi going to an awards show and he's rocking a dress? I mean, I'm not sure 100% what his reasoning is, but I'm guessing it's like a fashion thing mostly.
It's hard to speak to that. I don't know what's going on in his mind. And is he doing it because he legitimately that's part of his swag, or is he trying to make a statement? Is it for shock value? Is it a conversation piece?
Right.
I don't know. And look, man, to each his own, man. Like I said, I'm just glad to see that we got enough strong black male role models that those guys can exist.
Right.
And if those are the choices they want to make, go ahead, man. Do you?
Somebody like him might take a bunch of shit in the media for that kind of thing, but I mean, it does say something that I don't think the majority of people who are seeing that kind of thing are necessarily responding with like homophobic violence through words. You know,
Right.
it's like they might get some shit, but
Yeah.
compared to the type of response we would have seen in 1980,
Oh yeah, that matter of fact, that would be blasphemous.
right?
Rap wouldn't stand for that.
Yeah.
You know, now, we live in a generation where we got a little Nas X. And that should be able to exist. That don't mean it's my cup of tea.
You respect him as a comedian? Because I feel
Who?
like Lil Nas X, because I feel like his...
No, he's a rapper though. That's the
Right,
rap.
but his brand is like kind of, it's sort of inherently like based around making you laugh. Don't you think, like in a weird way, this trolling shit that he does is
Right.
kind of comparable?
He ain't my cup of tea.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He ain't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
If he was a liquor, he'd probably be a White Claw or a Zima.
You can't fuck with a White Claw.
Nah, son, I'm hard in the paint. I'm straight tequila.
Okay.
No chaser. You know what I mean? I used to be a Crown Royal dude. I don't do the light stuff.
Right. Yeah, see, when I drink White Claw now, I stopped drinking, but I've had a few over the past few
Right.
years, and I'm like, this is really nice. Like, I grew up drinking beer.
What is White Claw exactly?
It's a seltzer. It's carbonated water with
Because
alcohol,
the reason why I brought it up, because I was doing a joke. And obviously Zima is so. I don't even know if you remember Zima.
No, I do, and it was like that was the funny alcohol in the 90s.
That was the
or-
pussy alcohol
yeah.
of that era. And I was using that as a reference point in one of my jokes. And the dude who opens up for me was like, Joe, you should say White Claw. And I, A, never heard of White Claw. B, never had a White Claw. But he kept going, White Claw is better than Zima. So I was like, damn, what is a White Claw?
Yeah. They're like 100 calories. They don't upset your stomach at all, which for me it was always a problem with drinking
Is it
beer.
alcoholic at
Yeah,
all?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, you can get shit-faced if you drink a couple of them.
All right.
Well, I mean, depends on your tolerance. But
Right.
myself, I drank 3 in a hurry one time, and I was
Yeah?
pretty fucking drunk, yeah.
Huh?
But, yeah, and they don't, like, fuck your stomach up. That's the thing I really like about it. It doesn't feel like, when I'm drinking beer, it's like I want to fucking drink a glass of water
I've
after.
never been a beer dude, man.
Yeah.
I might have a Corona or a Heineken.
Right.
But I'm a hard in the paint motherfucker.
Were you ever a fashion icon? Like, did you ever care about, like, the style of dress? Because it seems like it's such a big part of our culture
You know what,
now.
dude? When I was in my 20s, that's when you care about all that shit.
Yeah.
I used to care about all that. Not to say that I wouldn't care about it now, but at 46, your priorities change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I'm all about being comfortable, man. Give me my flip-flops when I'm running through the airport. But otherwise, my natural uniform is, Tim's, New York hat, jeans, and a T-shirt.
I'm willing to wear some stuff for the purpose of looking good, but
Yeah.
as soon as you start to enter into the territory of being uncomfortable, that it's really, really hard for me to wrap my head around how anyone could do that.
Nah, man, the older you get, the more you don't give a fuck.
Right.
And you all about what works for you.
Yeah, but I mean, I also feel like dressing nice is like a pussy getting tool, and in that way, I can respect it.
Listen, if you got enough money, it don't matter what the fuck you wear. That's your clothes.
That's true.
Your Andrew Jacksons and your Ben Franklins and your Grants become your outfits. you could wear or not wear whatever the fuck you want to wear. If you do decide to dress chic in GQ, that's just the garnish on the plate.
Right.
You know what I mean? The main meal is what it is.